Imagine, just for a second, a legendary golden city. A metropolis so unbelievably grand it was said to be forged by the divine, absolutely gleaming with silver, gold, and unimaginable wealth. For centuries, this epic saga was written off as mere myth, right? Just a fantastic backdrop for one of the greatest stories ever told. But what happens when the fables we've been told turn out to be true? Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tearing down the wall between ancient mythology and modern science to uncover a reality that has literally been submerged for thousands of years. What if the greatest mythological story ever told was actually a historical fact, buried underwater? Just let that sink in for a second. What if the mythical city of Lord Krishna, the absolute crown jewel of the Mahabharata, wasn't just some ancient fantasy, but a real, functioning, highly advanced civilization that is currently resting at the bottom of the Arabian Sea? When Rome, Athens, and Babylon can be excavated, why not Dwarka? That right there was the battle cry of Dr. S.R. Rao. He was this legendary marine archaeologist who absolutely refused to accept the establishment's dismissal of ancient texts. Against all odds, with minimal funding and facing immense skepticism, he treated those ancient scriptures not as fairy tales but as a literal map waiting to be read. He set out to do the impossible, and honestly, his sheer determination set the stage for an unprecedented historical revelation. Okay, let's dive straight into this. We are breaking today's explainer down into 6 major story arcs. 1. The legendary Golden City. 2. The Curse of Destruction. 3. The underwater quest begins. 4. Science unlocks the mystery. 5. The Great Sea Cataclysm. And finally, 6. Myth becomes modern reality. So, arc number 1, the legendary Golden City, an epic creation. Our prologue kicks off roughly 5,000 years ago, right following the epic Kurukshetra War. Lord Krishna is looking for a safe sanctuary for his people after facing repeated attacks on Mathura, so he travels to the western coast. According to the texts, he actually prayed to the sea god Varuna for land, and in this ultimate act of divine favor, the ocean just recedes, granting him this vast expanse of earth. The construction of this utopia was then handed over to the ultimate architect of the gods, Vishwakarma, and he forged Dwarka, the city of gates. Now, what's really wild here is the duality between the lore and the reality. The poetic myths talk about over 900 grand palaces, constructed with crystals, silver, and gold, complete with fragrant gardens and peacocks roaming the streets. But underneath all that beautiful poetry lies a shocking architectural reality. We're talking a highly planned grid system, dedicated seaports with specialized docks, and an intricate freshwater irrigation network. This wasn't just a shiny magical palace. It was a self-sustaining engineering marvel that was way, way ahead of its time. To really grasp the sheer scale of this place, you've got to look at this number, 153.6. That is the exact number of square kilometers, equivalent to 12 ancient yojanas, that Lord Krishna supposedly reclaimed from the sea to build this fortress. I mean, that's a massive power level when it comes to ancient urban planning. They essentially built a sprawling, impenetrable safe haven for the Yadu dynasty. But moving to Arc 2, the Curse of Destruction, the fall of the Yadu dynasty. Because as with all great epics, the Golden Age couldn't last forever. That era of absolute prosperity quickly gave way to internal rot, arrogance, and a series of devastating, unavoidable prophecies. The story takes a seriously dark turn right here. It was an unstoppable, tragic chain reaction of fate. Think of it like a rapid-fire backstory montage. It starts right after the Great War, with a grieving Gandhari cursing Krishna's entire lineage to perish. Years pass, and arrogant youths from Dwarka mock visiting sages. Bam! A second fatal curse, an iron mace destined to destroy their clan. They frantically try to grind this mace into dust and toss it in the sea, but the fragments are swallowed by a fish, caught by a hunter, and forged into a deadly arrow. On the final day, amidst a brutal civil war fueled by corruption, that exact hunter mistakes Lord Krishna for a deer. The arrow strikes true. And the exact moment Krishna departs the earthly realm, the ocean violently rises up to reclaim its borrowed land, leaving absolutely nothing but silence. An entire, vibrant civilization buried beneath the relentless, crashing waves of the Arabian Sea. All right. Arc 3, the underwater quest begins, the 1983 dive. That ancient silence, it stayed completely unbroken until the modern era. For centuries, people just wrote Dwarka off as pure fiction. But then, in the 1980s, our brilliant strategist, Dr. S.R. Rao, decides it's time to piece the clues together and challenge the deep sea. The modern investigation essentially leveled up through a few distinct phases. Back in the 1960s, local surface digs started turning up some really ancient pottery. Then, in the 70s, a massive lore drop happens. A 6th century copper plate is found, explicitly mentioning Lord Krishna's residence right in that area. Armed with those fragments of truth, in 1983, Dr. Rao and a small, super passionate team literally jumped into the Arabian Sea. Operating on a shoestring budget of just 800 rupees, relying entirely on local fishermen and raw determination, they began manually searching the ocean floor. And man, did that determination pay off with this monumental discovery. Look at this number, 560. That is the length, in meters, of a massive stone wall they found resting roughly 30 meters underwater. Let's be real, you don't just stumble upon a perfectly structured, 560-meter-long stone barricade in the ocean by accident. This was undeniable proof of a man-made fortress. Which brings us to Arc 4, Science Unlocks the Mystery, High-Tech Archaeology. So the manual dives proved the city existed, but to truly understand what they were looking at, the investigators had to bring in the heavy machinery. The turn of the millennium marked the moment the ultimate high-tech arsenal was unleashed on this ancient mystery. Between 2001 and 2007, an unprecedented joint task force was assembled. We're talking the Archaeological Survey of India, the National Institute of Ocean Technology, and the Indian Navy all teaming up. They deployed advanced sonar, they utilized sub-bottom profilers to literally scan beneath the seafloor. They brought in marine geologists and specialized naval divers. They systematically mapped out over 4,000 square meters of the ocean, stripping away the sea's secrets to reveal massive stone blocks, structural foundations, and intricate drainage systems. So the crucial point here is how the science completely shattered conventional historical timelines. When they sent these artifacts to international labs for carbon dating, the results were wild. Wooden and terracotta pieces dated back precisely 5,000 years, perfectly matching the exact era of the Mahabharata. 3 whole stone anchors proved they possessed highly advanced naval navigation. But that deep-sea pottery, when those results came back, scientists were absolutely stunned. It tested at over 9,000 years old. That predates even the Harappan civilization, completely rewriting the lore of ancient coastal settlements. Moving to Arc 5, the Great Sea Cataclysm, the science of sinking. Now we hit a massive analytical puzzle. If this grand, incredibly advanced city existed, how exactly does an entire metropolis just sink? To figure that out, researchers had to look beyond archaeology and dive straight into marine geology. Global research by Professor Rance, tracking the Arabian Sea, builds a pretty terrifying picture. 11,000 years ago, sea levels were 25 meters lower than they are today. But roughly 5,000 years ago, there was a sudden, violent spike in global sea levels. We are talking about a rapid, overwhelming deluge. This geological data birthed the sea level rise theory for Dwarka. This wasn't some slow, gradual erosion. Massive tectonic shifts, a colossal tsunami, or rapid glacial melting caused the ocean to violently rise up. And what is absolutely mind-blowing here is how the hard, geological reality perfectly mirrors the mythological texts. Those texts describe the ocean aggressively surging forward to reclaim the land the very second Lord Krishna departed. It's literally a case where the magic system of the ancient lore is proven by the real-world science of the Earth. Finally, Arc 6, myth becomes modern reality, the Twin Cities. This is where all these incredible narrative arcs finally converge. The ancient past has fused with our modern world, leaving us with a profound historical reality that bridges thousands of years of human existence. Today, Dwarka exists in this dramatic, dual state. Up top, you have the city above, a vibrant, breathing pilgrimage site visited by millions, keeping that ancient faith and energy alive in the sun. But right off the coast lies the city below, the lost original city of Krishna, resting in total silence as the ultimate archaeological truth. The evolution of this quest is truly astounding when you look back at it. It starts in the 1930s with whispered rumors from local fishermen and pilots seeing strange underwater geometry. It levels up in 1983 with Dr. Rao's dedicated marine excavations and reaches a scientific crescendo in 2007 when massive underwater temples are fully mapped out. This historical journey was even highlighted globally in 2024 when the Prime Minister of India performed a scuba dive directly down to the ancient submerged ruins, acknowledging the site at the highest possible level as a cornerstone of human heritage. Dwarka proves that sometimes our wildest legends are really just history waiting to be rediscovered. It teaches us that science and mythology aren't always enemies. Sometimes they're two sides of the exact same coin. But it does leave us staring into the deep blue with one final echoing thought. If the sunken city of Dwarka is real, what other impossible myths are sleeping down there in the dark, just waiting to be proven true?